All right, so I got a brand new fragrance here from the house of Armaf. This one, it has been out, I want to say probably about a month and a half or so, but I was just able to kind of get my hands on it. I've seen it available at a few different places, but for really high prices, normally anywhere from about 80 to 90 plus dollars pretty much. I refuse to pay that much, for this fragrance. So when I saw it on sale on fragrancebuy.ca for about $51, I went ahead and picked it up. So this is going to be Armaf's Club De Nuit Precious. And so this is going to be pretty much like their sort of take or twist on Creed's Absolu Aventus. So this is pretty much what you get with the actual presentation here. This is a lot, I would say, when it comes to the presentation, because there's not just this, there's a lot of layers literally that you have to kind of peel back to actually get to the fragrance. So it starts off with, this is actually all like kind of stuck together pretty much, and you have to kind of peel off this little thing that connects, the top and the bottom. And then you have Armaf down here, Precious 1, Armaf up top. You've got Club De Nuit on both sides of this box here. And then you've got Armaf manufactured by Sterling Perfumes, authenticity sticker, ingredients, batch date and everything. This one was manufactured in June of this year. Yeah, June of this year. And then pretty much once you kind of peel that bottom part off here, you lift this up. It says Armaf Club De Nuit, Collector's Pride. That slides out like that. All right, and then you've got like this sort of rubber feeling sort of bookcase here pretty much. So you've got Club De Nuit written here in textured letters. On the back, you've got Armaf. That's also sort of textured as well. And then it's held together by these sort of straps here. So you just kind of one by one undo these straps. And then you see this is just nothing but basically like a rubber sleeve pretty much. So this is going to be the actual box that holds the actual bottle itself. So up top here, you've got Armaf in the top right, Precious 1, and then, and this is the top left, I'm sorry. And then you've got Club De Nuit down here, all right. And then this is kind of like a textured design as well. Sterling Perfumes written on the back there, nothing on the sides or the top or the bottom. And then you kind of got like a little tab here where you can push this out. Armaf Club De Nuit, sent for the royals from the House of Sterling. So you've got that written there. You get the sort of microfiber cloth, the same kind of one that you would get with like the Club De Nuit Intense Man limited edition parfum. And then you get this thing here. This is kind of like a sort of suede cover. I'm not going to read all of this on camera, but pretty much you lift this up and then that's when you get to the bottle. All right. So the bottle sits in there kind of coffin style. I really do enjoy the way that the bottle looks. It's like this really sort of slim, kind of like by Killian style sort of, bottle pretty much. You've got Club De Nuit Precious 1 down here at the bottom. You get this sort of textured design on both sides of the bottle. And it goes around kind of like the sort of neck of the fragrance as well. And then on the cap, on the top of it, you get Armaf. And this is a extrait de parfum. All right, so you get that sticker down there at the bottom. The main thing that I hate about this particular bottle is a stupid tassel. And I mean, definitely as soon as I complete this video, I'm cutting this shit off because I really, really hate these tassels that they put on these fragrances. It's unnecessary to me. And obviously every time you move this thing, it makes this stupid noise. I hate it. So I'm sorry if you're one of these people who like this type of stuff, but yeah, they really could have did without that. But just getting to the smell of this fragrance, Smell this fragrance is very good. I can say that for sure. I was really not that, interested in the Absolu Aventus sort of scent profile when I saw it come out. Especially, I guess, because of what I was seeing other people say. Pretty much people were saying it was like Aventus mixed with Sauvage Elixir. When I smell the original and even this, I mean, I can kind of understand why people were sort of saying that, but at the same time, I don't necessarily agree with that assessment. It definitely, I think that's a really sort of simplistic way to kind of, describe the fragrance. I think it's definitely more than that. And it does smell, I would say it is a very nice, sort of scent profile for sure. I think I could say the Absolu Aventus scent profile, I think I do sort of prefer that over the original. I think at this point, the original, it's a little bit dated, especially with all the different clones that have come out of that fragrance so far. I'm a little over the original's, Aventus scent profile. So this one for sure, I would say is the best smelling, sort of Club De Nuit, line fragrance that I've smelled. That's based off of the sort of Aventus scent profile, pretty much. It would be really nice to see them come out with like a Aventus cologne sort of interpretation, because so far I would say that's probably my favorite, version of Aventus. But this, I would say, is easily probably right behind that one, pretty much. All right. So just to kind of go over the differences in the notes. The notes for Club De Nuit Precious, there are a lot more notes in this one. So for this one, in the top notes, you get pineapple, pear, caramel, lemon, pink pepper, bergamot, and black pepper. In the mid, you get whitewood, oak moss, jasmine, anise, and lily of the valley. And then in the base, you get ambroxan, vanilla, leather, white musk, amber, patchouli, and cedar. So that's the notes for Club De Nuit Precious. And then for Absolu Aventus, you get grapefruit, bergamot, blackcurrant in the top notes. And then in the mid, you get ginger, cinnamon, citron, and cardamom. And then in the base, you get pink pepper, patchouli, and vetiver. So definitely you can tell that there is like a note difference pretty much between, this and the original Absolu Aventus. What I will say is that pineapple note it's not like one of those notes where it's just kind of like a background note or a supporting note or anything like that. The pineapple in this one is definitely going to be the noticeable difference between, something like the Club De Nuit Precious and the Absolu Aventus. The pineapple is the main player, I would say, when you first spray this one on, as opposed to with the Absolu Aventus. I feel like it's more of sort of like an equal blend of like, the grapefruit, the bergamot, and the black currant. So, this doesn't come off as sort of juicy, as loud as what the Club De Nuit Precious does. All right. So if a loud fragrance is something that you're looking for, at least on my skin anyway, I really don't get too much loudness with the original Creed fragrance. This definitely sits a lot closer to my skin than what the Armaf Club De Nuit Precious does. Now, I won't say that that's like a good or a bad thing or anything like that. All I can say is, at least for my personal taste anyway, I do prefer the way that this smells over the original. And I'll just go ahead and just kind of refresh my memory on both of these here. I think from what I could remember, the Club De Nuit Precious definitely comes off as being more on like the fruitier side. So I would say this one is slightly more sort of youthful and playful. Whereas with this one, this came off to me as being less sweet, slightly more sort of maybe smokier. So yeah, I mean the Club De Nuit Precious is definitely more fruitier for sure. And I mean, the way that it comes off is it's not just the pineapple that sort of makes this one like the fruitier fragrance. This one smells like it's just, a culmination of multiple different fruits, that kind of come together and give this one, a more sort of fruitier feel, as opposed to the Absolu Aventus. I feel like with this one, for the most part, I feel like the main citrus that I'm getting with the Absolu Aventus is the sort of, bergamot and a little bit of the grapefruit. The black currant is, I would say, you can sort of smell it in there, but it's really not that strong. In my opinion, definitely it's not as strong as, what you would get in like the original sort of Aventus scent profile. But yeah, I mean, pretty much after you spray both of these on, you're going to notice that the Armaf is going to be, I would say, at least probably twice the strength of what the Absolu Aventus is. The Absolu Aventus, it does definitely smell very well blended, very sort of natural smelling. It would probably be something that I would more so sort of spray on my clothes rather than skin to, really get it to last a long time pretty much. But I feel like, if you're wanting to be noticed, if you're wanting others to smell you, this would be the better choice, in my opinion, anyway. And I mean, even though this one has a much heavier emphasis on, the sort of fruitiness that you would get from like this Aventus scent profile, and I would say a little bit less emphasis on that sort of dark, sort of smoky aspect, this to me just it smells like the better scent, in my opinion. Now, I would say the lemon is also more noticeable in the Armaf for sure. Which lemon is actually, it's not a note in the Absolu Aventus. But even with that being said, even with you being able to, smell that noticeable lemon, I would say the lemon is definitely, it's not going to be the type of lemon that you would get in like the Club De Nuit Intense Man EDT. This is definitely going to be the sort of smooth lemon that you get from like the limited edition Parfum pretty much. And again, it's basically sharing space, I would say, with the pineapple pretty much. So the lemon is not necessarily like the main player as soon as you spray this on like it is in the EDT. It's, again, a sharing space with the pineapple, which you can also, smell pretty prominently. Now the other stuff that, you get in terms of the notes with this one, like the caramel, I don't really pick up on too much of that. I would say in the base, you do sort of get a slightly sort of vanillic sort of feel from this fragrance as well. But for the most part, the main thing that I'm getting right now from the Armaf Club De Nuit Precieux is I'm getting a lot of that sort of pineapple and lemon, a lot of pink pepper, I would say for sure, which that also, it gives it a slightly sort of spicy edge. But at the same time, it still keeps the fragrance sort of fresh. I'm also getting a nice dose of like the oak moss and the jasmine. Slightly, I would say a slight sort of woody feel to it as well. The original from Creed, in my opinion, comes off as slightly more woodier. But overall, I mean, they are still, I would say, pretty close. Again, with this one just being a slightly more sort of like a twist on the scent profile. Now, in terms of like the overall performance with this, like I said, the Club De Nuit Precious, this definitely, it gives you better projection, than what you get with the Creed. So I would say the projection is at least twice what you get with the Creed. And then in terms of the longevity on both are going to be about the same. So I do get at least about 8 hours with both of these fragrances. This one obviously is going to be a little bit stronger throughout, those last sort of hours, that you get. But, I would say both of them, they do actually perform much better than, any sort of batch of the original Aventus ever did, at least on me. Normally those fragrances are gone in like 3 to 4 hours or so on my skin, which I've never understood that. But yeah, I mean, this Absolu Aventus actually does have pretty decent longevity. Now, in terms of, just I would say like the sort of overall closeness pretty much to the original fragrance, this is going to be, in my opinion, more kind of like around that 80 to 85% mark. It, like I said, it definitely, it almost kind of smells like sort of like a mixture of like the original Aventus, in my opinion, mixed with, the Absolu Aventus. Definitely more so on the sort of Absolu Aventus spectrum. But I feel like with that, sort of pineapple fruity opening that you get with this, it does kind of, remind me more so of sort of like the original Aventus pretty much. So I really, really, really enjoy this one a lot. I would say don't pay like the $80 to $90 for this, because I don't necessarily think that it's worth that much. But I would say if you can find this one, for anywhere from about $40 to about $60 to $65 tops, then I do think that this is worth it. At that price for this 55 ml bottle. Now, in terms of just an overall rating, this one I'm gonna give at least a 9.2 out of 10, man. This is a very, very good, scent profile. I do definitely understand the appeal with the original sort of Aventus, or Absolu Aventus. I do understand the appeal to this. I think that this is a very good sort of update on the, in my opinion, sort of redundant, Aventus, scent profile that we've all loved for like the last, 10 plus years pretty much. I do think that this is a pretty good, sort of update on that scent profile for sure. All right. So this one, in my opinion, I feel like with the sort of brightness that you get from this, with the, sort of added fruits, this makes the scent profile a little bit more sort of versatile. So I feel like this is something that I would more so kind of reach for any time of the day. So, day and night pretty much. Whereas with the Absolu Aventus, this to me, it more so, it kind of comes off to me as like a more sort of like nighttime fragrance pretty much. Nighttime, like a date fragrance, something like that. Whereas again, something like this, I would, kind of wear this one in the daytime as well. All right. So that's my take on Club De Nuit Precieux. Like I said, I really do enjoy this one a lot, and I'll be, holding on to this one for sure. All right. So definitely let me know in the comments if you all have smelled Club De Nuit Precieux. If you have you smelled the original Absolu Aventus? And how close do you actually think that, the two fragrances come to each other? All right. So let me know in the comments below. Also, if you're brand new to the channel, do me a favor, go ahead and subscribe. And again, that's Jamar from Vegas Scents. I'll see y'all in the next video.